Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing and this is the second lecture of gas chromatography. Friends, in last lecture we have seen what is gas chromatography, principles of gas chromatography, as well as what are the stationary phases and what are the mobile phases are used into the chromatography. In this particular video lecture we will see instrumentation of gas chromatography, then working of gas chromatograph, study of gas chromatogram, qualitative analysis by using this chromatogram, and advantages of this gas chromatography. First we will start with the instrumentation. So this is the block diagram for the installation of gas chromatography. So gas chromatography, particularly gas acts as a mobile phase. So this is the cylinder which contains a carrier gas which carries the solids along with that one. That's why that mobile phase gas is called as carrier gas. So this is the cylinder. It is attached with the two-stage pressure regulator. So this is regulate the pressure from this gas. This is the flow controller. So we can control the flow of carrier gas. Then this gas is going into the column oven. So these columns are put into the oven. So this is attached with the thermostat to control the temperature of these columns. Now this flow is split into two parts. One is going as a reference column, while second is going through a column which is coiled column. To this column, so these both columns, reference column as well as the column used for the separation, both are in a oven. So the temperature is maintained equally for both the columns. Here this is the syringe that is called as injection port. So this syringe contains a sample solution. It's inserted by using this syringe into the column. So this is the syringe is full. This is the injection port. Then this is the column, and column as well as reference electrode that goes to the detector. So detector detects and analyzes the data that gives to the electrometer or bridge. Then whatever the data system is used and whatever the data is recorded by the recorded in the form of graph, and that graph is called as chromatogram. So this is the instrumentation block diagram. Instrumentation of the gas chromatography mainly includes tank of carrier gas. So this is the carrier gas cylinder, tank of carrier gas. Then injection port. So this is the injection port where the sample is inserted into the column by using a airtight micro syringe. Then the column is important part. This is the column which is present into the column oven. Temperature is maintained. This is the coiled column, and this is the attached with the suitable readout system, so that we will get a record in the form of graph. So this is called as instrumentation block diagram. Now we'll see one by one what are the parts of instrumentation. The first part is carrier gas tank. So the high pressure gas cylinder containing a chemically inert gas, carrier gas like nitrogen, helium, argon or carbon dioxide. In gas chromatography, gas is a mobile phase. So we can use helium, nitrogen, argon and carbon dioxide gases. Generally, helium is used for the carrier gas. So this is a neutral gas, inert gas. So helium can be used as a carrier gas. Hydrogen is not generally used because it is inflammable in nature. The choice of the carrier gas depends upon the purity required, what is the availability of the gases required, what is the consumption of the gas, then type of the detector which is used for the analysis. So according to these factors, we can choose the carrier gas, and we can put that cylinder with that regulator. The cylinder is also attached with the pressure regulator to control the gas flow through the separating column. So we have to maintain the flow of the gas. It should not be very fast, it should not be very slow. It should not be very slow that whatever the solids which are present into the gaseous form or vapor form that get condensed. So it should be a fast. Whatever the adsorption, disadsorption, whatever the partition occurs into the mobile phase and solids phase, that should be regulated by this gas flow. The high density gas gives a best efficiency, while low density gases gives the faster speed for the analysis. If the density of the carrier gas is high, then the efficiency of the column, efficiency of the separation will be increased. While if the gas density is less, then analysis will be in a faster rate. Now second part is the injection port. It consists as a smaller chamber into which we have an inlet into the column. So through this inlet we can insert a solute sample in the form of solution into the column. The chamber has a self-sealing silicon rubber septum. It is attached to one end of the column. The carrier gas is also passes through one side of this port. So it contains a silicon rubber septum, so that if you are inserting a needle into that one, so that gas should not be leaked. For that purpose, it required a self-sealing silicon rubber septum, so that we can insert injection, whatever the syringe needle into that septum and insert the gas sample in the form of solution in a proper solvent in the column. At the one end there is a carrier gas also. So this carrier gas carries this solution of the sample along with that one and makes a vapor form or gaseous form in an oven. The arrangement used to introduce sample mixture into mobile phase, that is mobile gas phase, is called as sample injection system. So whatever this injection port system is used to introduce the sample system into a mobile phase, it's called as sample injection system or injection port. The use of this injection port is to introduce the sample into mobile phase. The gaseous samples can be directly injected through the septum into the column with the help of gas tight syringe. The liquid samples are introduced by using the micro syringe with hypodermic needle. So if our samples are in a gaseous form, then we can insert directly into the column through the septum with the help of gas tight syringe. But if our sample is a liquid or solid, if liquid samples are there, means solution samples are there, then we have to introduce by using a micro syringe with hypodermic needle. The needle is inserted through the rubber septum and sample is injected smoothly into heated metal block. At the end of the column, the temperature of the injection port should be such that the liquid is rapidly vaporized but without decomposing the sample. So injection port, the main use is what? To insert the sample into a column. This is the main use. So we have to insert the needle through the rubber septum, so that whatever the carrier gas is that should not be leaked. If a gas is the sample, that is okay, that easily carried out by the gas. But if the solid sample is there or liquid sample is there, then if solid sample is there, you have to use a solution in a proper solvent, proper volatile solvent. And if liquid, then also we have to use some solvent. So whatever the solution of the sample, that should be smoothly inserted into the column. So there is a heated metal block. So whatever this liquid or solution form of the solid sample will get evaporated and converted into the gaseous form. This is the main purpose, because this is the gas chromatography. So that should be vaporized but should not be decomposed. Whatever the sample is there, organic sample is there, that should not be decomposed, because organic substances at particular temperature decomposes themselves. Then the analysis of this decomposed sample will not be useful. For that purpose, the temperature you have to mention in such a way that whatever the sample solutes are there, that should be vaporized or converts into the gaseous form but should not be decomposed. This is the use of sample injection port. See the sample injection port in this way. This is the micro syringe which contains a sample solution. This is the needle. So this whatever the gray that is the heated metal block. So in that case, this heated metal, this is the carrier gas column. So this carrier gas is coming from the cylinder valve. Then this is the septum, rubber septum. So this rubber septum is self-filling. So if you are inserting this needle from this septum, then we can insert this sample into that column. So this heated metal block converts this liquid sample or solution sample into a gas form or vapor form, and this gaseous form and vapor form of the sample is carried out with the carrier gas to the column. So this is the block diagram or diagram for the injection port system. The use of injection port system to insert a sample into the column. Now we'll see the chromatographic column. So the columns are made up of with glass or metal tube. The length of the tube is around 2 to 3 meters and internal diameter of the column is 2 to 4 millimeter. So this is a long column. Length is around 2 to 3 meters while internal diameter is 2 to 4 millimeters. So diameter is very small while length is very long for the efficient separation. The column tube is in the form of circular coil, as this length is very high. For that purpose, we had to make this column in a circular spiral coil that is already provided in that form. 3 to 4 turns are placed into the temperature controlled oven. So whatever this column should be placed into the thermostat, that is temperature controlled oven. So we can monitor the temperature of that column also. At the one end, the column, the mobile gas phase is passed through the injection port. So column has two ends, one end where the carrier gas, mobile phase gas is coming into the injection port, and through this injection port that is coming to the column. The column is packed with the powder solid support. So in this column, the inner area is packed with the powder solid support. The solid supports consist of uniformly sized particles and must be stable at constant at column temperature. So whatever the solid support which is present into the inner wall of the column, that is uniformly sized particles are there on the inner wall of that column, and it must be stable at column temperature. So whatever the column temperature is there, that column temperature, that solid support should be stable. Usually fire brick or diatomaceous earth, that is silicate or Kessel-Guher, is used as a solid support material. The function of solid support in a packed column is to provide the inert solid surface on which the stationary liquid phase can be coated. So this is for the GLC, gas liquid chromatography. So in that case, gas is a mobile phase while liquid has a stationary phase. So for this stationary phase liquid, we have to provide a inert area, inert surface area. So usually this fire brick or diatomaceous earth, that is silicate or Kessel-Guher, is used for the solid support medium, solid support material for this liquid stationary phase. So this is the use of chromatographic column. The selection of most of the suitable liquids for the stationary phase for particular separation is crucial. The liquid like paraffin oil, that is Nuzol, squalane, Apazon L grease, silicon gum rubber, dinyl phthalate, polyglycols, glycerols, hydroxy acids, these organic compounds, these compounds which are high boiling point liquids can be used as a stationary liquid phase in GLC, gas liquid chromatography. So that selection of which high boiling point liquid is used for the separation of the compounds, that is depends upon the which are the compounds present into the sample. The column packing is prepared by adding a proper amount of liquid phase dissolved into the suitable solvent to weight quantity of the solid support in a suitable dish. So in this case, whatever the column packing is prepared by adding a proper amount of liquid phase. So liquid phase, whatever this glycerol, squalene, newgel, paraffin oil, that should be dissolved into the suitable solvent like DCM, carbon tetrachloride. So this solvent should be volatile, and that weighed quantity of solid support is added in a suitable dish. The acetone or dichloromethane or carbon tetrachloride can be used as a solvent for the liquid stationary phase. This volatile solvent is removed by the spontaneous evaporation. So as these solvents are volatile solvents, so we can remove these uh, solvents by using the evaporations. Final traces of the solvents can be removed under the vacuum. The solid support should remain free flowing after being coated with the liquid phase. So whatever the column, whatever the solid supports remain free flowing after being coated with the liquid phase. Now we will see the requirements of liquid phase, that is liquid stationary phase, that is substrate, and the uses of that liquid stationary phases in a particular solid sample for the separation. Whatever the liquid stationary phase, that must have good solvent property for the components. So the components which are present into the sample, whatever this liquid phase, that should be a good solvent for that components. It must have different partitioning property of the sample components. So whatever the sample components which are present into the mixture, that should have a different partitioning property in gas as well as stationary phase liquid. There should be the difference in distribution of the solids within the stationary phase liquid and mobile phase gas. It must possess a low vapor pressure at the column. It must show high thermal stability. So whatever the liquid phase, liquid stationary phase, it should have a high thermal stability, so that at the temperature of column, that should be a stable and intact. Now we'll see the some substrate and solid pairs along with the operating temperature. So these are the substrates, that is liquid stationary phases, that can be used for some types of solids at particular temperature. So these are the polyglycols. So these polyglycols are very good liquid stationary phases for the amines, ethers, alcohols, ketones or aromatic compounds. So temperature of the column needed is around 100 to 200 degrees Celsius. Then paraffin oil, that is newgel, that is good for paraffins, olefins, halides. The temperature required for the column is around 150 degrees Celsius. Next is the silicone oil, is a liquid stationary phase, very good for the paraffins, olefins, esters and ethers. The temperature requirement for the column is around 200 degrees Celsius. Then decyl phthalate, that is for the polar compounds like amino acids and alcohols or biomolecules. So temperature requirement is around 170 degrees. So this temperature for the column. Now we'll see the working of gas chromatograph. So gas chromatograph is a instrument. The name is graph, but that is the name of instrument. So chromatograph is the instrument of gas chromatography. The separated components coming out along with the mobile phase at the end of the column are directly passed into the detector, which is attached to the other end of the column. So whatever the components are passing through this column along with the mobile phase, gas mobile phase, that are directly passes to the detector, which is attached to the other end of the column. So that detector detects and produce the data. The separated components coming out at constant flow rate from the column and are automatically detected by the detector. There are many types of detectors like thermal conductivity detector, flame ionization detector, electron capture detector. The detectors gives the response to the readout system. The magnitude of the detector response depends upon the composition as well as concentration of the wafer. So these detectors are attached to the one end of the column. These detectors are various types: thermal conductivity detectors, flame ionization detectors, electron capture detectors. These detectors we will learn in next lecture, but this type of detectors gives a response to the readout system, and the magnitude of the detector is depends upon the what is the composition and what is the concentration of that vapors. So whatever the concentration present into the vapors, that gives a response according to that one. The every detector possesses two sides. One is reference side and another is the sample side. The carrier gas is first passed through the reference side, then it enters into the column, and then it come out from the column throughout the sample side, through the sample side. The response of the sample relative to the reference side is to fed to the readout system, that is record system. That is, the output from the detector is fed to the recorder, which produces a pen trace graph called as chromatograph. So whatever the instrument is called as chromatograph, while the detector gives the response in a pen trace, that is graph. That graph is called as chromatogram. So these things to be remembered. One more thing is that whatever the detector at the end, so it has a two sides always. One is for the reference side and one is for the sample sides. So that compares this data, reference mobile phase as well as the mobile phase which contains a sample. So whatever the difference in their analysis, that difference is for only a sample. So that automatically reduces the response for the carrier gas and gives the response only for the samples which are present into the carrier gas. So this is the use of a detectors. The detectors gives the response to the readout system, and whatever the magnitude of the detector is, response depends upon the concentration of the samples which are present into the carrier gas. Now you see the study of chromatogram. Response of the detector is coming out in the form of graph. We have to study that graph, and that study of graph is called as study of chromatogram. So the chromatogram is a plot of detector response against the time. A chromatogram consists of series of peaks. Each peak corresponds to the individual components detected in the sample. So how many amounts of samples are there? According to that, we are getting the peaks. One peak is for one particular sample. The number of peaks obtained indicates the number of components which are present into the sample. For each component, we are getting one peak. That's why if there are 4 peaks, you can conclude that your sample contains 4 types of components. If graph giving 3 peaks, then you can say that your compound contains 3 components. So each peak is for each component which is present into the mixture. The function of detector is to sense and measure the small amounts of separated components. So even 0.1% component is there, then also this gas chromatograph shows a peak for that one. The function of the detector is to sense and measure the amount of separated compounds present in the carrier gas stream leaving at the end. So the function of this detector is to measure the how much amount of that separated component is present to the sample in the form of percentage, 1%, 2%, 0.1%. So for each peak, we can measure the whatever the amount of that particular component is present into the sample. One more term is retention time. The time corresponding to appearance of the apex of each peak is the retention time TR for that particular component. So in simple manner, whatever the time required for the component of the sample for coming out from the column, that time is called as retention time, and that time is noted by the chromatogram. So the time requirement to appear a peak on the chromatogram, that time is called as retention time. Now we'll see in details what is retention time. So retention time TR, it is defined as a time required for the components to come out from the column after the injection of the sample. So whatever the time requirement to come out of the components of the sample, that time is called as retention time. TR are used for the qualitative identification and peak areas are used for the quantitative determination. So whatever the retention time is used for the qualitative identification, that is the characteristic property for the particular component. Whatever the time requirement to come out from the column, if the all conditions are constant, then TR value is a qualitative identification. TR value is used for the qualitative identification. As like RF value, retardation factor is the characteristic value of the particular components. So we can identify the components by using the RF value. So similarly, we can identify the components which are present into the sample by using retention time. So retention time is a characteristic property for the particular component. Similarly, whatever the graph obtained into the chromatogram, so that obtained in the form of peaks. So whatever the peak area, that can be used for the quantitative analysis of the sample. So gas chromatography, simultaneously we can do the qualitative analysis, that is identification of the components, as well as quantitative analysis. So we can identify, we can measure the amount of the particular component which is present into the sample. So this can be used for the qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis. The characteristics of the retention time. Now we see the some characteristics of the retention time. It is a characteristic property for each component, like RF value in a liquid-liquid partition chromatography. It represents the maximum time of emergence of the peak after sample injection. So it is the time, maximum times required for that particular component coming out from the column after injection. It is used for the qualitative identification of the components of a given mixture, and it depends upon the nature of stationary phase as well as mobile phase, flow rate and column temperature. So what is the time, retention time? That depends upon the what is the stationary phase, what is the mobile phase, what is the flow rate maintained by the regulator, column temperature, whatever maintained by the thermostat or oven, etc. If all these conditions are constant, maintained, that is nature of stationary phase, mobile phase, flow rate, column temperature, then for the particular component the retention time is same. That's why it is a characteristic property for each component. It is calculated by measuring the distance d on the chart paper from the point of injection to the center of the peak and dividing by its chart speed. So distance divided by speed of the column. So for example, retention time TR is equal to D divided by chart speed. Now we'll see how that quantitative analysis will be done by chromatogram. Suppose this is one of the chromatogram. So this is the sample injection port. So it indicates this peak where sample is injected. Then this is the time. So as per time, the peak is appeared for this component, one of the component. So whatever the distance between sample injection and the peak, this distance is measured into the time, that is retention time. This axis is for the concentration. This axis is for the time. The peak areas are used for the quantitative determination. So whatever the peak height, peak area is used for the quantitative determination, for the how much amount of that component is present into the sample. The peak area is proportional to the concentration of particular component, and hence the amount of component in the sample can be determined. Whatever the peak area is there, that is directly proportional to the concentration. So what is the total peak area? Out of that total peak area, considered 100%, then out of that one, what are the peak area for the particular peak? It gives a quantity of the particular component which is present into the sample. So if the peak is symmetrical, then peak area is calculated as a product of peak height and the peak width at half height. So this is the formula for determining the peak area. If the peak is symmetrical, showed over here like this, if peak is symmetrical, then the formula is peak height, whatever the height of that peak from this baseline, this is called as h, and at half height, या हाईटच्या हाफला त्याची width मोजायची, that is distance. So that width is measured in centimeter. Okay. So whatever this ratio, height divided by peak width at the half height, that is called as peak area. So in this way, we can measure the peak area, and this peak area is directly proportional to the concentration of corresponding components which are present into the sample. So what are the advantages of this gas chromatography? Now we'll see one by one. The gas chromatographic analysis requires a short time. So time requirement is very short. Other chromatographic methods require hours or days, while technique requires a few minutes. So in few minutes we can do the qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis. And because a gas can much more rapidly, why? Because a gas can much more rapidly passes through a packed column than the liquid. So gas required less time to pass through the column than the liquid. That's why gas chromatography is a faster method. Within a few minutes we are getting the results. Qualitative means how many components are there, which components are there by using the retention time, as well as how much components are there, that is quantitative analysis done by this gas chromatography. The total time required for the complete qualitative and quantitative analysis is surprisingly short. It is because the peak of the separated components are automatically recorded on the chromatogram. So this analysis by the gas chromatography, that is qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis, the time required is very short, because these processes are automatically done by the instrument chromatograph, and that recorded on the chromatogram. So the time requirement for the qualitative as well as quantitative analysis by the gas chromatography is very less. The technique is very popular because it requires a very small amount of sample even for a complex mixture. It is a micro method and requires only a few milligrams of the sample are sufficient for the analysis. So this technique is very popular in academic research, in research laboratory or industry. This gas chromatography can be used for the analysis, for the purification also, for check the how much purity of the sample, so how much amount of impurities are there. For that purpose also you can use this gas chromatography, because this is a less time consuming, very easy to handling, and sample requirement is also very small, that is few milligrams of the sample can be sufficient for the qualitative as well as quantitative analysis. See, this method is good for carrying out the separations of very complex mixtures. The technique has a short separation ability and high sensitivity, so it can give you a good precision as well as accuracy. So this is a method, is an instrumental method. So if instrumental method is there, there is a high precision as well as high accuracy. So we can repeat a same chromatogram for the same sample. It has a strong separation ability. It can separate a complex mixture also, as well as high sensitivity. Means if the one of the component is present in less than 1%, then also gas chromatography detects that particular type of impurity and it gives a peak for that one, as well as it gives a percentage of that impurity present into the sample. So these are the advantages of the gas chromatography. The apparatus required is very simple and relatively cheap. So relatively very cheap as compared to the other spectroscopic technique, and this gives a better data of qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis. Within a few minutes we can check the purity of any sample. Suppose तुम्ही एखादी केमिकल मार्केटमधून खरेदी केलं, समजा ॲसिटोन आहे, ते जर तुम्ही गॅस क्रोमॅटोग्राफीला विदिन अ फ्यू मिनिट्स ॲसिटोनमध्ये इम्प्युरिटी काय काय आहेत, अल्कोहोल असू शकतं. सो व्हॉट इज द पर्सेंटेज ऑफ अल्कोहोल प्रेझेंट टू दॅट वन. Within a second or within a minute you can get the amount of impurities present into the sample, or how many types of impurities. So how many peaks you are getting, that depends upon the how many types of impurities are there. So you are getting that idea by using this gas chromatography. Now next video we will see the detectors which are used into the gas chromatography. Thank you friends.